All right, let's hope we are currently live. We'll see. I've increased the bit rate on this one, guys. So let me know if the picture quality is a little bit better. Today we are checking out some new PC cases that I've got in. A couple of them look really cool. I've got them next to me here. See if I can switch you to my other cam and get a little sneak peek at some of the cases. The one on the very right is actually just a build that I've finished. So not actually a particularly interesting case, but the others look really cool. We got the Deep Cool CH260. Antec Performance 1M, which I hadn't heard of, but it's been out for a while. It looks really cool. We've got the Fantex Evolve X2, a really, really gorgeous case. You can't see it very well because the light's reflecting on it, but we'll look at these later on. Looking really, really nice. Whilst we wait for people to sort of sidle into the chat, I'm going to eat some slop and I'm going to watch some slop. And when you guys get into the live stream, let me know. We can start asking away any questions that you've got, anything like that. And we'll go from there. Roman is here. Hello, Roman. And we got Philo. Man, flirting is it misleading though? Is it really? I mean, you gotta say the right things to get what you want from me. Let's put it that way, Philo. Let's put it that way. How do you know it's misleading? Anyway, the stream is still going. So how could you possibly say that that's misinformation? It's not at all, is it? Cool. So the chat is working. We've got people in. Any questions anyone's got, let me know. I'm going to watch some YouTube slop while I eat my slop. But then obviously we'll get on to those cases in a bit once we've got a few extra peeps in the chat. But it's good to see some of the OGs are here. I'm hoping that Max turns up soon because that guy's funny. He really rustles my jimmies. And you said there's going to be no flirting. How dare you? Right, what do we want to watch? Battlefield video, or do we want to watch a PC Tech video? We should probably watch a PC Tech video. It's a PC Tech channel, isn't it? So why don't we do that? Actually, how am I going to do this? Like, how am I going to play the audio without ruining it on the mic? Well, we'll work it out. Right, so if I put my Bluetooth headphones in, I want to see if it still gets picked up on the stream. So we'll see. Because this could be the ultimate like slop machine, couldn't it? That's like reacts content. Not very good for you guys, but what are you gonna do? We've got 3 viewers, that's awesome. Especially seeing as I didn't even announce this stream, we just started it. My hair's looking a little bit wild, as you can see. I like to leave it 1 day a week without any product in it. That's why. Is this enough flirting for you, Philo? Unbelievable comment. Unbelievable comment. Okay, so let's see if this works. So if I play a video, will it come through? Why don't we watch? Let's watch a PC-centric video and we'll see. If we start getting annoyed with his voice, then we'll have to stop watching it. But we'll see, because there's a new case out, so I want to see what it's like. So if I swap over to this cam here, not this cam, this one, there we go. And then we will play the video. I want to see if it comes through. No, it doesn't. For Pete's sake. Right, okay. So what we will do instead is we will set up audio output capture to the headphones. There we go. Hopefully this will now work.
It's kind of just a square.
Yes,
that's not the case here today,
because
for the first time in a long, long time, we finally have something
not as
that
much
is
as
doing
expected.
things, I don't want to say completely differently, but certainly
Well, what do we
very
think about
different, because
PC
what we have on
Centric?
the desk here today is
Oh, that's okay, Rome. It's just good to see you, mate. This is only going to be a short stream anyway, probably like an hour. I don't actually have any builds to do. I've tidied up everything, so I'm just going to be showing off some new cases that we've got in. But
I'm going to start this off with the main party piece, because if you look at the side of this, I will say that this is meant to be a full review of this
Corsair
chassis.
case, isn't it?
This is not a sponsored video in any way from Corsair.
Triple chamber case. I reckon my insight is that this is going to be a completely pointless design that actually in the real world doesn't make any difference. It might knock 3 degrees off your CPU temperature, but who cares? And I hate the look of it.
So essentially,
it's not going well so far for me for this case. It's absolutely massive.
So you're going to plop this.
Oh my god! Look how wide that case is.
You don't.
You're going to need a desk just for the
PC. If you've already got bits and you want to work your way up, but it'd be very hard to.
Well, of course, I think it's awful. I think it will sell a lot because they paid all the YouTubers to promote it.
Carefully kind of prevented from going into the main chamber, and then they're just like guided away out of the side. So obviously your room is still going to heat up in exactly the same way, but this actually stops the hot air from contaminating your GPU, stops those fans running really loud, and just gives you plenty more options for cooling.
If anyone that knows anything about GPUs, like nowadays, they're so overbuilt, they never get hot anyway.
Say that there have been, I don't want to say questionable decisions, but the negative with this is going to be the price. I was hoping that this would be a little bit cheaper, nearer like the $200 mark, but it is definitely above that. There's a couple of different versions. You can get it in black or white with the LX fans, which are going to be like the IQ Link, and it will come with an IQ Link. Great, but you are going to obviously pay more money for that.
That is ludicrous.
Or you can buy with the more basic RS fans that still sit
also
down
really
the bottom,
ugly.
still are reverse blades, so they're going to be chucking air up and through
Dude,
the
I'm
top.
not a fan of this.
If you don't want to use these, you maybe want to use
so
Lee and Lee fans, then you're going to be buying those, and you're just going to be wasting them and chucking them away. So it would have been nice to see.
Stupid. It doesn't even look good. It looks, to me, that looks really cheap. Like, looks like acrylic. I know it's glass, but it looks like
acrylic. It's not only construction. We go through.
There's so many better cases out there that you can get. You don't need this gimmick with the triple chamber thing. It's not going to make any difference.
But I think it's actually just going to be the tooling, because there's so much stuff that's
price is
different with
ridiculous,
this.
Roman. It's
Clearly,
absolutely
every
nuts.
point is just added more to the cost, and usually a case manufacturer would say, I'm not sure the value's there, let's take that bit off, and then
I don't know what's going on with Corsair. They've fallen off.
This is for those that just want the absolute best airflow possible.
3000D was the last good case they've released.
So I've already shown you the party piece, as it were, but let's jump into the real meat of it and have a look at the main chamber. And there is a door. I've just fumbled that. That is actually quite easy to open. It's got a really nice hinge on it, actually.
That looks like it's going to break.
And you do have a transit screw at the top. But first, actually, we need to take
as if
this
I would
top piece off. And
ever ship that to anyone. Can you imagine your local like DPD or UPS driver
Corsair frame
like picking that up and it's surviving? I doubt it.
This thing is thick. This thing is not going to upset you when it comes to build quality, which is great. If we can get this under the overhead, look, you can see you can mount a 360 radiator up here. It's a little bit weird.
I had one of my builds absolutely drop kick the other day. How cool was better and everything. As if I'd ever trust that in a delivery driver's hand.
There aren't any 140 fan mounts, or you think in something like this you could definitely fit bigger fans. Not sure why they've done that. They haven't given you the flexibility. You have to go for 120s, 360, 240. But let's remove this transit bolt.
Right, as if anyone needs more than a 360mm radiator for anything anyway, apart from maybe like 1400K.
The look of curved glass, but I often say I'm not sure whether it's worth it from a value point of view, because it costs a lot of money to curve the glass, and you lose a lot of glass in the process. Just you get a higher failure rate essentially when you're trying to do something like that, which obviously pushes the price up. And usually you could justify that because obviously you have this nice curved bit of glass that you can see through, but that bit is at the back. I don't know about you, but I never look at my PC from this angle. So I have no idea exactly how much, but this probably adds like an extra 10, 20, 25, maybe even $30 to the price just to have this curved bit of glass there. Not entirely sure how they could have done it without
Corsair, giving you shit that you don't need that works badly for the past 20 years.
In my eyes, that would have made a whole bunch more sense. But there is also
with occasional really good stuff, like the 4000D, 3000D.
This does actually have its own door as well, which again adds a little bit of cost.
And of course, their power supplies are very good.
You see that you have these, I think they're calling them air guides. That might be another brand's IP.
Does that plastic shit not look so disgusting and cheap to you?
Which is a cool idea. It's going to aid in stopping it like recirculating. But again, you know the gist by now. It obviously adds cost and complexity.
My thoughts on this kind of thing,
personally speaking, I think it looks a little bit
is
weird.
that these companies add a lot of stuff to it that's just like to be talked about in a YouTube review.
You do have to get your thumbs.
It doesn't actually like make you enjoy your PC anymore, or actually make any real difference.
And then the whole thing, look, there it is, will come out.
It looks awful.
It does look a little bit like
leave it out. It looks way better without it.
But again,
PC Centric's on it. He's got the good. He's realised the same thing.
Just to have the best possible airflow, and if this means you need a bit of plastic in here to kind of guide it through, then so be it.
Pay £300 for a case and you get an ugly bit of plastic inside it. Awful.
And this had glass air guides that were quite cool, but I kind of thought the same thing. It looked better, but it still was a little bit weird just to have either plastic or glass there. But if you want to take this out and you find that it doesn't make much difference to the cooling, that may well look better in the long run.
They've run out of things to innovate on cases, so they're just making stuff up that they think people need.
I get the point, you're channeling the air directly where you need it, but another bit
PC cooling has already been mastered. If you want the best PC case, the old school Lian Li 215, that was a top case.
That's the whole point of this.
We'll show you some B-roll at the end of this with them in and out, and you can make your own decision, and we'll also look at some thermals as well, so we know once and for overall. But yes, once again, these can come out. This side's actually probably a little bit easier to remove. And then do you see what I mean?
It's got plastic at the top as
A
well.
bit more normal. Oh, but if
Oh
we
my
grab
God.
that glass, whack that back on.
For anyone that's watching, we're just like
Suddenly,
getting
I
the stream
think you've
going.
got
We'll
a
look at some of our PC parts in a bit.
Panoramic beauty of a PC rig.
So we're just checking out some sort of tech YouTube content at the moment whilst I'm eating and whilst the stream's getting going. So this is like PC Centric's Corsair Air 5400 review. It looks dreadful. It's £300 the case nearly. It's massive, and it's got loads of like gross plastic inside it. I just don't get it.
It looks nice with the LX fans.
If you want a good case, you just have a case with two massive fans on the front, enormous fans that are going to shoot loads of air through your PC. And then like room for like a 360 cooler in there. That's case cooling solved. You don't need to make it complicated. This is all just marketing gimmicks to get you to change a case that doesn't need to be changed.
Obviously, you have to cable manage it properly, but if you're not as fussed about the absolute best airflow possible with that bit of plastic, you'd be paying for it, but you obviously...
Safe to say, I won't be buying this.
This
is an awful
at the
case.
other side, again, still got that massive hole there. That's not going anywhere anytime soon. You've got this nice door. Once again, you can remove it quite easily. Transit screw. And I've got to say, I do really like having doors. It does make it way easier. Not really so much that you wouldn't be doing it for the first time. But if you're like me and you're constantly like adding another drive,
I disagree.
Taking something out, swapping fans, just generally, again, making modifications. It's obviously easier because you can do it without taking your whole PC apart.
Yeah.
Now, on the inside here, this is the third.
Most users aren't going to be getting in the back of their PC very much.
Obviously, everything is
so it's kind of irrelevant.
You can put a large power supply in here. And you do have either a slot for one of these, or because this is the LX version, one of these, which is the IQ Link hub, which obviously means way less cables. You can just kind of like daisy chain all of the fans together.
IQ Link,
they lock
enormous rip-off.
Extra IQ Link stuff will just connect.
Still got loads of cables. Needs an 8-pin power plug, for God's sake.
It's also a case that does support reverse connect motherboards.
Terrible.
Like Project Zero, Project Stealth, BTF, anything like that, and it uses what they're calling their rapid.
Can you tell I'm not a fan of Corsair?
System, which sounds very fancy, but essentially it's like this pegboard style.
Please, not modern
so
Corsair.
all of the tie-down points actually can be physically picked up and removed and put somewhere else. So
That's
all
good.
of those square pegs, you can just put a cable management slot in there if you want. Now,
who cares?
Probably a lot less
There's a
relevant
steel
in
panel
this
on it,
case
so who
because
cares?
it's going to be really easy just to like stuff everything in. It doesn't have to be a super neat and tidy build anyway because you're not going to see any of this stuff. I will also say as well, which is quite nice, that you have this kind of like new brush cable management. It's replacing those rubber cable grommets essentially, and I like this for a couple of reasons. Firstly, because it's just going to be way easier just to stick your cable through.
Yeah, that's
and
way better.
The brush will hide everything, but then also it's going to be a lot thicker, which means you can put like thicker cables. If you're going to do like a water-cooled rig inside here, you might have already thought, well, where are my tubes going to go? Well, you'd probably do soft tubing, and then you just go through here because it's nice and thick and still.
Oh, that bit on the side is plastic as well.
Which is nice, but then it also means that
£300 for a case full of plastic.
Gross. It's not going to do that thing which it seems to always do, which is kind of like rip your cable management grommet out. It's not going to be to everyone's taste. Personally, I like it, but there will be some people watching this thinking that this makes it look a little bit like a vacuum cleaner. So if that's you, I do understand and appreciate. Now, I do also want to take this opportunity to show you the back of this case, though, because at first you might think, oh, yeah, pretty standard. But actually, there's a few things I find a little bit strange here. Now, firstly, you can't mount a fan at the back, which I understand the limitation is that obviously they've cut some of this off to have the curved glass. That again, a lot of people won't be able to see, and then it limits the fans you put at the back.
I think PC Centric's getting a bit based, you know.
All of that air up from the bottom and out through the top. So I do get that, but some people, even if it's just
a couple of years ago, he would not have been speaking like this.
But then also, it's worth noting that it looks like there's only one hard drive cage for one dedicated full-size drive, which for most people watching this, absolutely fine. But in a case this large, you'd usually be able to expect to put quite a few more hard drives inside here. I guess you can obviously put them in other places, but in terms of like dedicated bay, be aware it is just the one. And then the other thing that is just a little bit odd, which some people are going to love, other people are going to loathe. Let me know in the comments which camp you're in here. We've got 3 USB-Cs on the front of this, no USB-A, which I find odd because surely most people are still using USB-A over USB-C. It's quite clever the way they've done it because they're essentially converting that 3.1 Gen 2 connection from your motherboard into 2 Type-Cs, because obviously USB type is kind of irrelevant, right? That's literally just the size of the port rather than the speed and things. But this is only going to be good for people that use more USB-C than USB-A, and I think most people would like to have the flexibility. I
think about 80% of the things that I use are still USB-A.
But I would wager most people watching this would probably prefer the standard. But let me know in the comment section below which way you go. Well then everyone, on paper that is pretty much everything you need to know about this chassis, other than the fact that it does have a dust filter and I didn't know how to weasel that into the video, potentially show you the underside of the case as well. There you go, literally everything you need to know. But as I say, let's get our build on, and this is going to be rapid fire
there's a
because
ROG
this is
motherboard.
a case review. But obviously that is
Oh,
gonna
for
stop me
God's
walking
sake.
through some of the other
There's
components.
no...
This is a Crosshair X870E Hero. This is a very high-end motherboard.
It's just plain old pasta, my friend, with some Bolognese sauce on it.
For most people, obviously, this is very much
actually pretty decent.
Overkill, but as you can see, it's a very attractive motherboard. Whoa, hang on a second there, pass markers. You're making a big mistake because you ended up spending hours trying to get the networking to work on that board, and it didn't. And actually, the only way to fix it, and I tried Wi-Fi, both Ethernets, added like a separate network card, nothing would work, and other people online reported this problem as well, until I swapped out the motherboard from the ROG to this one from Gigabyte Aorus,
also
which
pointless.
is disappointing. Maybe I was just unlucky with my sample, but I couldn't fix it until I swapped
Nobody
it out.
needs an
So
X870. It's probably about 1 or 2 people out of
Just
100,000 that will ever
swapped out
need the
this
features
motherboard.
on that.
And I also realised as well that I never did a nice, smooth transition to this video's sponsor. Haven's brand new case and fans have arrived to provide stunning looks, solid construction, and awesome performance. Down below. Heat generating CPU I could find. This is the 9950X, not the X3D.
So the TDP is only 170 watts. And
that,
let's see how many power phases that motherboard has.
But obviously this should just drop down nicely. Most people actually, if you're a gamer,
Can't
probably
see.
should just go for a 7800
So because 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8
8
capacitors. I can't see how many MOSFETs there are.
Without accelerated 3D V-cache, but this is a 16-core chip, so it's going to be great for productivity.
There's a crosshair. There's probably like a 16-phase VRM.
X3D and get both. As we open up our top SSD,
oh, there's like another 8 or something over on top. So
not to overspend on non-gaming components and go for a PCI Generation 5.
Max,
SSD.
you're on it, mate. You're absolutely on it. Because nobody in their right mind needs a motherboard with that many power phases on it. That 9950X, TDP of 170 watts, if you were to really like extract everything from it, you'd be looking at like 300 watts at absolute max. So why on earth you need a 16-phase motherboard on an AMD system, I will never understand. 16 phases at 90 watts. Let's work out how many theoretical watts that can put out. So you won't be able to see the calculator, but I'll just tell you. So they're probably 90 amp power stages. So if we do 90 times 16 times, and then we'll do it, we'll assume it's like 1.1 volts. So times 1. So that motherboard could theoretically deliver 1,500 watts to the CPU. 5 times what you could need even on an overclocked, maxed out setup. So this is why in my videos, I just don't overspend on the motherboard, because like, especially on AMD, it's just not needed. I mean, Intel 4900K, we're going to overclock it 450 watts. All right, you might want a high-end motherboard, but AMD stuff, no chance. Crazy stuff, crazy. Massive waste of money.
Box we have our box of screws. We've got this, looks like a bar. And then because this is the LX version, we also get our IQ Link.
What Servant Max is saying is like exactly on the money. Because if you spend loads on your motherboard, unless you're going for everything top end, you lose out on getting performance from something else. You can get a motherboard that will work really well for any Ryzen CPU, even the 9950X 3D. You could spend £180, and that is all you need. Like an 8 or 10 phase VRM with good cooling is all you're going to need for any Ryzen system. So, yeah, he was obviously just sent that motherboard, wasn't he, by the manufacturers. But, you know, the whole X870 is also pointless. Like a B650, B850, you're not losing out by getting those different chipsets, unless you need those PCIe lanes for some professional workload. But that's not most people.
Before you realise you've got it the wrong way round.
I will say though, the motherboard looks nice. It does look appealing, so there is that.
And and secure in. At this point, we can then give this a spin around, and you can see this single IQ link cable can just connect here to the hub. The power supply will go here, so we'll have to cable manage this a bit, but that will be okay.
IQ link is just
unbundle
how to spend a shed load of money you don't need
really
to
understand why this is a bit
on a system that actually isn't any better than what it replaces.
Through the brush, which, to be fair, does certainly work.
What do you think of this? What do you think of that brush? We'll have a look at that. Oh, come on. Show me. So, you can't really see it very well, but they've got like a brush type thing rather than a grommet. I don't know if I like that or not. I don't know. I think I also hate grommets, so I know what PC Centric's on about. I would just take the grommets out and leave it and just have the holes. It looks better than the grommets or the brushes or anything else.
Which is nice. Oh, a nice little touch there. The HD audio cable is completely jet black. You don't have any ketchup and mustard at all. But you do on the USB, which is kind of pointless because you've obviously put the extra production into that, but not that. Either do both.
Yeah, that's not great for my high-end case.
Next up, though, we can do what is always my favourite bit, the radiator.
Because I love radiators.
I don't. I hate radiators.
But this is a case where you have to use one. And to be fair, despite the fact that they are definitely quite expensive.
Exactly, Max. Should we look up that? Right, 7 Max. Should we look up? I'm going to pause this video. I want to look up how much an Aorus 5080 is. Aorus Master 5080. Let's see if this comes up on screen or not. Yeah, it does, right. Jesus Christ. Okay, so that's the ICE version. So, okay, that's the gaming OC, so it's not that one. Was it Aorus Master? Yeah, it is. 50. This seems like a really pointless card. Is it this one? Okay, so, you know, you could pay £1,225 for your 5080, or you could get a Palette Gaming Pro or a Zotac or whatever else for like $950. These were going for $950 before. Where are they? Well, I can get them for $950, but sort of $999, right? So 20% more money for a GPU that's actually not any faster. And you're like, so with this build that PC Centric's done, I know the idea is that he's sent the parts, so to him there's no cost. But if you're building a PC at home, you're watching this, and you see that this guy has got an Aorus Master 5080, which is 20% more money for maybe 1% more performance. He's got an X870 stupidly high ROG motherboard with 16 power phases on it for a chip that's going to do like 200 watts at max load in gaming, probably looking at like 150 watts. So it's completely overspent there. With the money that you spend by making better choices on those two components alone, you could probably get a 5090. How stupid is that? And I agree, 7Max. Palette is good. People go, oh, I've never heard of Palette, but they don't. That's because they don't pay any YouTubers to look at their products. Palette have been around since the 1990s. They're actually one of the biggest board partners for graphics cards in Europe. So I don't know why people are slagging them off. I think they're great. They always work. They don't. I've never had one with bad coil wine. I've never had a problem with them. I've sent MSI graphics cards back. I've sent Gigabyte graphics cards back. I've had problems with many different brands, but actually I've never once had to send a Palette graphics card back, and I use a lot of them. So I actually quite rate Palette. It's just not a sexy brand. I guess that's the problem, right? But you know, I'm a Palette stan. But like I said, I'm not brand aligned at all, so I don't care. I just get whichever one's cheapest. Apart from Inno3D, I wouldn't buy a high-end GPU from Inno3D. 5070 would be fine, but anything higher than that, I wouldn't use an Inno3D. Their cooling's not usually the best.
Instructions moment.
And for me to say that as the law of the cheapest model guy, you know it's not great.
Poke that into the main chamber. Get the tubes.
So so this is like he's putting it into like the triple.
So okay, that was fine.
Chambery bit.
Okay, but I thought that was going to be complicated. It was fine.
Okay,
cool.
so
right.
you mount it there, and you have your radiator
Will this look good once we put this on?
You have your radiator in the side in its
We
own
have
sort
the
of
fun bit of actually mounting the
separate
rad.
chamber.
So let's
Okay.
add our AMD backplate and a bit of third
Whenever I
party
build
panel.
PCs, I always put the pump head on first and then the radiator after. But maybe in this case you can't do that. Only because like trying to mount a pump head on is trickier when it's already upright. I don't know.
Is a bit flimsy. Everything else, as I say, is properly solid. Really
Yeah,
good construction.
Max, you're on it, mate. I like the palette look. Like they're quite plain, but I like that. I don't really want a screaming RGB card because they always age really badly. Like the Zotac 3080s and 3090s, if you look at them now, they look so lame. But they had loads of RGB and stuff on them. But the palette ones, they age better because they don't have loads of RGB on them. And they don't look ugly, they look just decent enough. At least that's what I think.
They're a fair bit smaller. And actually this one as well, quite cleverly, also has an IQ link.
They look really good vertically mounted as well.
Something I probably should have thought about a second ago because it would have been a lot easier for cable management, but yeah, just gives you an extra couple of ports.
The PNY are quite ugly, but I don't care.
Any cables first, shall we? And I will say that this technically will work in a lot of cases. It's not just Corsair ones. I mean, actually, why would you want a shift for this case? I know it will work.
So we got Niles Kumar says 9060 XT or 5060 Ti for esports games, which would be better? I think it does depend on the game. Nilesh, let's pause this video. We'll give some actual PC advice because that is what we're here for. I'm just doing some slop at the moment, waiting for the stream to get going. All right. So Niles says 9060 XT or 5060 Ti for esports games, which would be better? They're both going to be really similar. So it does depend on the games that you're playing. Are you somebody that's very competitive? Are you playing for money? I know that this is going to sound awful and you're going to hate me for it, but if I was playing competitive games at a high level and it was part of my job and my, my identity and my career, I'd choose. I'm not buying an AMD Radeon card. I think Radeon cards are really cool for general population, but if you want something that is just utterly dependable in an esports situation or a high stakes situation, NVIDIA. I'm sorry, you're going to slam me for it, but I think if that's you, then get the 5060 Ti. If you just like esports type games and you're not high up and you're casual, so if you're casual, I'd get the AMD. I'd get the AMD because it's probably going to be a little bit cheaper. It depends, and if you're going to get the 8 gig or the 16 gig, if you're going to play at 1080p resolution, the 8GB card will be absolutely fine. If you're going to play at 1440p, likely the 8GB will still be fine if you're playing on low esports settings, but you might want to get the 16GB version. One, because it will sell better if you want to sell it on in future, and it'll be a bit more flexible for other things that you want to do. So I think for you, if you're playing more casual esports games, then the 9060 XT is the better choice, I would say. But if anyone in the comments wants to pipe up and say something different, say it. It's totally cool. I'm not gonna tell people what to do. I'm just giving, Yeah. So, that's the thing is, Nilesh, it's all about like what you can buy. You can always spend more money and get more stuff. Like, my recent video, I guess my video with the Lian Li A3 got 10,000 views, which is amazing for me. And I had a few people say, oh, well, you shouldn't have used the Arc B580. You should have used the 9060 XT. You should have got a much better motherboard. You should have got a better power supply. I'm like, guys, that's going to increase the price of the build by 30%. Have you got something wrong with your head or something? Like, obviously, you can always spend more money to get better stuff. So I didn't quite get that. So that's it, Nilesh. You're on it, mate. You're on it. So 9060 XT for you, my friend. I think you're going to love that card. Well, that's the other thing, Servant Max, because yes, totally agree. All GPUs are overpriced. Although I did just do a budget build, which will be released on the channel probably in a couple of weeks. And that had the Radeon RX 7600. Not an awful GPU. And it's 185, 190 pounds here, so not too bad. But yeah, a few years ago, do you know what the best graphics, one of my favourite graphics cards ever? GTX 1660 Super. That was absolutely class. That is like a hero graphics card to me, because I sold so many PCs with the 1660 Super. and everybody absolutely loved it because it had the NVENC encoder, so they could stream really easily. It gave them wicked 1080p performance in the games that were out at the time. It was just, and it was like, I think you get them for like £180, 190. Awesome card. And so you was rocking a 1066 gig, but you know what? Like, depends what games you play. So I've been playing lots of Battlefield 6 recently, like loads of it, way too much. And my friend has a GTX 1660 with a Ryzen 3600, and he's loving life. He's having a great time on Battlefield 6. So, you know, a 1066 gig, you're not that far off a 1660. You're probably in the same ballpark. So if it's doing what you're doing, that's fine. If you want to go for higher performance, you just need to spend the money. That's what it's like nowadays. PCs are a luxury. They're not something you're owed. The corporations don't owe you cheaper prices. They just charge what people will pay. If people will pay that much for it, they'll charge that much money for it. That's just how it works. What they do is they do what any business does. They just increase the price until people don't buy it anymore. And at that point, they go, okay, that was too much, we'll come down. It's in their interest to charge more. So the only way to solve that is if everybody stopped buying them, but people keep buying them. So what are you going to do? Nilash says, HDMI 2 or 2.1 is a massive difference. I don't think so, especially if you're playing esports games. I think the 2.1 is higher bandwidth. So if you've got like a 4K OLED that does 120 hertz, you might need HDMI 2.1 for that to work. But for pretty much everybody else, you're going to be fine with HDMI 2. So yeah, I wouldn't worry if it's esports you're playing. But you know, if you're going for if you're going to get a computer that's good enough to run a 4K 120 hertz OLED, the computer will probably already have HDMI 2.1 anyway, and so will the screen that you're on. So it's one of those problems that sorts itself out. Okay, so I think we'll finish the rest of this case review. I might skip ahead a little bit. So that's that one. So we'll check out the rest of this case, and then I'll show you the cases that I've got next to me here that we're going to do some videos on coming up.
Obviously, you just have to be careful how you route everything, really. It's a little bit untidy.
This build is done as looking quite nice, I think.
Maybe this is
it looks fine. I mean, the expensive components that he's bought, like, they're not actually going to be helping with performance. Honestly, if you put like a B850 Aorus Elite motherboard in there, like £190, it's going to give you the same performance as that motherboard. I am almost certain. It's different on Intel. So if you were going for Intel high end, the motherboard choice is a bit more important because the Intel boards can get really high memory speeds because the memory control is better on the CPU. So there, the motherboard might be more important. Well, it definitely is more important. So yeah, I know. So we're saying this earlier. I think this Corsair Air 5400 is gross. Absolutely gross. Oh, thanks, Devlin. Yeah, appreciate it, mate. I finally got my capture cards working on my So I've got two cameras. I've got this 6700, which is like the main camera that I use for my videos, and I've got a ZV-E10, which is like this camera here. And I turned the bitrate up to 10,000, so hopefully the quality's a little bit better. The first stream was just like a sort of a proof of concept thing, you know, just to see if people liked it, and they did. So that's why I keep doing it. I've only got cases to look at today because I've built all the PCs that I need to build for this week, actually. So we'll check out some of these new cases. We've got the Deepcool CH260, we've got the Antec Performance 1M, and this is a massive Fantex Evolve X2, which looks amazing. We'll get the glass off that in a bit. That is a budget build that I just finished at the end there. We'll have a look at that as well. We'll just see what else is going on with this case here. I'm sure he does some testing at some point, so let's have a look.
I have to add one more, actually, just so the motherboard talks to the radiator. But other than that, it is done and good to go. Should we see if it works?
So he's got a conclusion there. So let's have a look. Thermal and noise testing. Let's have a look.
Even like doing a clean install of Windows, just trying to get the networking to work on that other board. No idea why.
He's talking about the. So I'm just going to pause it a minute. So he's built this system, and obviously Asus has sent him the motherboard. It's like an X870 ROG thing with like 16 power phases. We were talking earlier about how pointless that is, and it doesn't even work. The Wi-Fi doesn't even work. So it's just crazy. Exactly, Matt. So I think this case is so ugly, and do you know how much it costs? £285. It's crazy. Spazox. God, I said that without even thinking. I don't even know if that's how you pronounce it, but I've probably been demonetized. Actually, I'm not monetized anyway, so I could say what I want, Spazox. So he says, I'm looking for a case for my new super hot Zotac that's blowing hot air out on my glass side and making it. So the thing you need to think about here, I'm going to stop the PC-centric video. I'm going to address the camera because this is important. People, you need to like understand if your PC case is letting off a lot of heat, that doesn't mean the cooling system on your components is bad. It means the cooling components on your system are really good because the heat that comes from your PC is going to be generated regardless of what cooler you've got. If you put a 360mm, 420mm massive cooler, you do custom loops, it doesn't matter because the heat that is being produced by your system is in watts. The watts doesn't change if you put a better cooler on it. I know the temperature will read lower, so you'll have, if you had a CPU that was going 85 degrees and now it's going 55 degrees, obviously that cooling is a lot better. But it doesn't affect the amount of heat that's going to go out into your room because it's still producing the same amount of watts. It's just that those watts are being more effectively pulled off your CPU and dumped into the room. That's what a cooler does. It takes the heat from your CPU, dumps it into your room. So if your case has got loads of hot air coming off it, it's not because the case or your cooling is bad, it's because the parts themselves are high wattage. If you're saying though, Spazok, that the graphics card temperature was getting high, so like 90 or something, that doesn't mean that your room's going to get hotter. But what it does mean, obviously, is that if it is overheating, so I define overheating in a graphics card, if it's running over 82, 83 degrees C constantly, that's too hot. If you think it's the case that's the problem, then you could change the case. You don't need to go all out with your case. The basics of what makes a case good will be the same forever. Mesh front, lots of fans on the front, straight front to back airflow pattern, something like the Fractal Meshify 3. That's a premium version, but there's lots of cheaper ones. The perfect PC case is the Lancool 215, the old one. You can't get it anymore, but as an example, it pushes so much cool air into the case through two giant fans, and it's just got a fan on the back, done. Just don't complicate it. Front to back is perfect. Fish tank is okay, but the vector of the air from a fish tank has to go around a corner to get to your components, whereas a front to back is great. You also don't need to get a huge case because all you're going to be doing is cooling lots of dead air. So actually a somewhat smaller ATX case, which is why I use the Fractal Meshify 3 as a great example, if it's a bit shorter front to back, that cool air is going to hit your components better. So think not just about the heat that's going into your room. Think about, are my components cool enough? CPUs need to be really under 85 degrees C, otherwise they're not running very well. Graphics cards, probably 82, 83 degrees C. Oh, I see what you're saying. So think with the Spazbox, you're thinking about the path of the cooling in your case. So I'm just going to scroll up to keep your comment highlighted. So if you put your AIO cooler as intake, that will be better for CPU temperatures, but it will be worse for GPU temperatures because if you mount it on the front, you're drawing fresh air straight through the AIO. So you're giving it the coolest possible air, so that's giving it the best chance to cool the CPU. But obviously all the warmth from the radiator is then being pushed into your case, which will heat up your graphics card. It's pretty much always a trade-off. I find that technically, nowadays, most of the time, the graphics card coolers are a lot better than the CPU coolers because the CPU is quite a small IHS and you've got to pull a lot of watts off it. Whereas the graphics cards, if you compare the die size to the cooler size, it's more favourable. So it's up to you. The only way you're going to know is either by getting a different case, something like a Fractal Meshify 3, or a fish tank like an Antec C3 ARGB, something like that, or a Vector V100R by Lian Li. That's another fish tank case, or any of the Lian Li LAN Cool series, also fantastic. You'll need to play around with it so you can put your AIO on the front, test it yourself. Are the temperatures better? Put the AIO on the top, test it. Are the temperatures better for you? You can go around the houses thinking about theory, which is all very well and good, but if you've got the ability just to move it and try it, there is not going to be any information that's going to be better than that. So that would be my recommendation. Get something like a LAN Cool case. I think that's going to be great. Okay, so let's see. I'm not having a go at you, by the way. I'm just a bit passionate about like trying to prevent misinformation. I really think people should test the hardware themselves if they've got the ability to, because then you'll see with your own eyes what's actually happening and not just parroting what someone else says. All right, so we've got building a sim racing PC. That's cool. Yeah, that'd be something I could get into if I get really rich one day. And then Yeet Secret says, refuse to buy a case unless it has a fully metal side panel or a mesh side panel because I don't like the look of tempered glass in the case. Perfectly fair. So if you don't like the look of glass, why the hell would you get glass? So absolutely. I think the solid panels are usually better than the mesh panels because with the airflow, the direction is also quite important, like the vector of the air. So if you shoot a load of air into your case, if you've got a mesh, some of the cool air is going to escape from the side. But it's probably academic at the end of the day. If you're happy with how it works, don't sweat it. Yeah, this is the thing about PCs, is that it is so like personal to what you want. So don't listen to like black and white statements online. Like basically any PC can be good depending on whether it meets the goal of the person and they haven't been ripped off. Neotop says Okeanos Air Cross ATX case. That sounds cool. I don't think we can get Okeanos in the UK. I use a brand called Vida here, and they kind of jump on a lot of trends like that. But what I've seen of the Okeanos, they do look good. Someone sold on racing is, what other AAA games do you recommend to get on rotation apart from the ones? I don't know. To be honest, I don't play that many games. I build a lot of PCs. I work in a hospital. I work on my business. Like my business is my game, really. At the moment, I've been playing a lot of Battlefield 6, though. I have been enjoying it a lot. With a few little things I need to change in it, but otherwise, it's a great game. What other AAA games? I mean, I'm a big fan of Fallout games, so if you've not played those, you can sink a lot of hours into them. You can get them really cheap now. Yeah, well, that's the thing, Spazzo. You got a 5090 that you've perfectly illustrated the point that I said earlier, because the 5090 will have higher power draw. So it's all about the watts. So it's tricky. You know, it's tricky. You're always going to be doing a trade-off one way or the other. Who has mesh side panels? Lots of cases have mesh side panels, like Fractal North, for example, Lian Li A3. Lots of them do. They're often an option. They're just not as popular as the glass. Ricey per 8529 says, I used to have a Montec XR as it looks nice in the photos. Put my PC on the floor though, so I never actually see inside it. Now using N60 H5. Yeah, we did a review of the H5 Flow. It's really cool. I just bought a black one so we could do some more builds for the website, PC36. I do like the H5 Flow. I just wish that it had 360mm top cooler support. If you watch that video, you can fit a 360mm cooler in the top of the H5 Flow, but it's a bit janky. It only just fits, and you can't put a rear fan in, and it's not officially supported, so I wouldn't recommend it. But overall, otherwise, the case is great. Mentioned Vida for cheap case and CIT. Yeah, there are some. I don't like the CIT ones. Maybe they might be better now, but a few years ago, I bought some of them, and I found that the quality. I know they're cheap, so I'm not expecting the quality to be great, but they were just even lower than I expected, and not like the brand that I do my builds with. It's a bit more like a more premium brand. I don't like using these really cheap, horrible cases The Vida ones are actually quite good for the money, and they look and feel nice. Colink makes some good cases. I've used, I can't remember what it was called. It's like a micro ATX, and it's mesh on the front, and it's got glass side windows. I can't remember what it's called, but that was decent. Yeah, so CIT and Colink, they also do some good cases. Like I said, a good case is just simple: mesh, big fans, rear exhaust fan, and room for your liquid cooler or tower cooler. All these companies, they're putting out all this stuff like with these new features, like, oh, we need this air guide for the airflow and stuff. It doesn't make any difference. The case holds your stuff, has a front to back airflow pan ideally, and it looks nice. That's it. Yeah, that was yeah. You're right, Rice. So I mean, the top 360 was really the main problem with the H5 Flow. If it had 360mm top cooler support, it would have been almost a perfect case. It's fantastic. Yeah, so Colink, when they do go on discount, are a good pickup. So I think it was called the Citadel Mesh or something. I'm pretty sure it's like that was the one that you bought a load of them, like £35 before, and they were pretty decent. So I couldn't complain about that. The other thing is sometimes those really cheap cases, the fans that come with them are like either SATA powered or Molex powered, so you can't put a fan curve on them. So not always the best, but if you are budget limited, then you're budget limited. Like, what are you going to do? So the whole idea of this PC-centric video that we've been reacting to was that it's got an extra chamber for the cooling, but I just don't think it matters. And I think it looks really ugly. Bad implementation. What we might want to look at, though, is a case that's going to be coming out soon. Probably not in the US, unfortunately. Oh, what's it called? Oh, it's called like something like I think it's a CL6600. This could be an interesting design because it does the separate chamber for the AIO thing, but it looks better. Although it does look a little bit like a wireless router. So we'll wait for that to load a minute and we'll see. The observatory, the observatory is, it's decent. As long as it's the mesh one. The one with the glass in front wasn't very good. Kulik mentioned. Okay, so where is it? God, I wish I had a dark mode of this page. It's very bright. So try and scroll it a bit so that my fat head isn't in the way. So these are the deep cool cases coming out later this year. I think this could be really interesting. So I definitely want to get my hands on these. The look is going to be polarizing. Some people are going to think it looks like sort of a bookshelf stereo stack. Some people might like it. I think it looks all right. The interior looks nice. It comes with the AIO cooler, and the AIO cooler looks pretty cool as well. So we'll see. We'll see. I'll be interested to know what it's like. So is the Air 5400 really better for cooling? Well, the thing is, I can't say because I haven't tested it myself. So you can parrot other people's opinions if you want, but that's not something I like to do. I like to find out for myself. And I don't know. Theoretically, yes.
So what you're saying here is basically tunes as quiet.
So we'll see what PC-centric has found.
And you can see that at the moment it's our GPU that is running pretty much flat out. We're actually a little bit.
I'm trying to see where the temperatures are on this.
And we're getting about 59 degrees.
That's just the performance
On that GPU.
Oh, where is that?
You might think is running very, very warm because that's currently at about 81 degrees, which isn't what you would expect, right?
So the CPU is running at 80 degrees.
Or certainly one of the best.
Does he have this in written down somewhere?
As silent as possible, and don't forget we put that 99 a little bit further away, right? Whereas especially if you're like a mesh. But let's now crank.
Well, anyway, I can't. I don't know if I'm just being blind, but I can't see the temperature. So he said, is after the utilization percentage in that. Oh, is it? Oh, yeah, you're right. Look, I'm an idiot. Okay, so GPU 59 degrees C. I mean, that is quite exceptional cooling, but who cares? Like, you get it under 80 degrees C, it's all going to be fine. It's not going to thermal throttle. And the CPU 84 degrees C there. So I know it looks bad, but it's not because this is how Ryzen CPUs work, particularly the 7s and 9s. They all do this. It doesn't matter what cooling you put on it. If you have PBO enabled, it will just go to 85 degrees C every time because it will just keep seeing cooling and it will keep going up. But you'll get a lot of diminishing returns. So, he's running at 5,300 megahertz there, or nearly 5,400. So, yeah, that's the thing. The 7500F will still get to, like mid-70s, even on a good cooler. I think 85 is probably maybe on the higher side, but you've probably got PBO on, haven't you? So that's probably why. It's just how PBO works. Like AMD have said on their CPUs, these will run up to 90. They'll keep boosting and adding more and more until it hits 90 degrees C. And it's just how it works. Yeah. Usually in games, the CPU temperature is a lot lower though. So I'm quite surprised that it's running at 84 degrees C. Usually when I do my testing, I'll use Prime 95, which absolutely rinses the CPU, and I'll also run GPU benchmark alongside it, so both parts get heated up for like worst case scenario. Usually in the Prime 95, most Ryzens will get to the high 80s. Doesn't matter what cooler you put on it. But in games, usually it's a good 15 degrees cooler. So that's not been my experience. But it's not to say that it's bad. You might just have PBO enabled on yours. It's depends. The PBO will just do that. That's just how it works. So if somebody says I've got my Ryzen down to like 60 degrees, they've balked the CPU or the motherboard in some way, because it shouldn't be that cool when you're playing. Well, if you're playing a CPU intensive game, it definitely shouldn't be that cool. If you're playing something that's 4K or whatever, then yeah, all right, fine. You might have it that cool. But if you're actually using your CPU at all, and on a Ryzen, it will go hot. So I wouldn't worry about it at all. 90 is my point where it's too much.
And then see what that does.
Oh, so he's turned the pumps. So he's taken the air guide off, and he's changed the pump speed to max. Oh, so he's improved it a lot. Oh, okay. So did he max the fans as well? Okay, so what's he done? So he's put all the fans on max, basically. Well, no wonder it's cold then. You could do that whenever. So, when I do the fan curve, I have it set up so it sort of starts off plateaued at like when it's at 55, 60 degrees, it will stay at 40% and then it will gradually go up. It depends how you set it up. But obviously, if you run your fans at max, it's going to be way cooler. When will FSR Redstone even release? I don't know. Well, you think I know people at AMD? I know some people in the business, but I don't know anyone at AMD. I don't know when it will be out, but it will be very good for your 1060 when it does come out. So I'm sure you're waiting with bated breath. Yeah, Ricey, you're probably correct. It's something to do with the way that they're arranged and the IHS on top of the cooler. I mean, the problem with CPU cooling is the IHS most of the time. So it's difficult, because the only way you're going to fix that is by delidding it, which will void your warranty, and it comes with all kinds of other problems. Like, it's not worth doing, but that would be a way to actually get your temperatures down. So Gunny says, question, when setting up a new system with... I'm sorry, your comment's scrolling down. He says, with 16 Lian, why on earth did you buy that many Unifans? Should I use the ROG Hub or the Lian Li? I don't know. I would probably use the Lian Li because it will link in with their official software. You must have spent so much money on those fans, bro. I'm not trying to say that I'm not trying to say they're bad. I mean, they're great fans. They're really good fans. But I've bought these ones called TZM RIT, or whatever. I'm going to find them. I found these. And then I know they're not going to look as premium as Lian Li Unifans, but I used them in a build. On the channel, it's like the perfect white PC or something like that. And they actually look really, really similar to the Lian Li's. Are they going to cool as well? Probably not, but end of the day, you don't need posh case fans for any consumer grade PC build. So these are awesome and so much cheaper. And you get triple packs for even cheaper. Like, you know, got triple pack there, £23. So that's, you know, that's what I would go for. But they are good fans. I'm not saying that Lee and Lee's are bad fans. I just wouldn't use them because I don't think the price reflects what you're getting. But in answer to your question, I would use the Lee and Lee hub personally because you'll get better RGB effects. Probably. I don't know because I haven't used them for ages. Question: I have a 13600K and 3080 with a 1400K help or a better GPU for gaming. So the thing is, 3DXD, this kind of question, lots of people will give you a black and white answer, but there isn't a black and white answer, right or wrong. You have to give me a lot more information. You have to tell me what games you're playing, what resolution, do you prioritize your settings for maximum FPS or for maximum visual quality? That, you know, these are the things. Are you willing to tune and overclock your system? What motherboard have you got? What memory have you got? These things are things that we need to know in order to find out whether a 4900K would be a good upgrade for you. Spazok says, I bought the Zotac Gaming GeForce 5090 Amp Extreme Infinity. If you want to test your case fan configuration, I can say it's the hardest device I've ever bought. Is it hot in degrees or is it hot in watts though? Because there, you know, there's a difference, isn't there? I've never liked Zotac for the 90 series. They're fine for the 80 series. I've not really ever liked them for the 90 series personally, but usually they're fine. But I think probably means, I don't know if he means the 9800 X3D or 90. I assume he means 9950 X3D. Oh my God, Gunny! Why the hell have you got $14,000 in one PC? That is crazy. You have gone over the top. I mean, you know what? If you got the money and you're enjoying it, I can't slag you off for it. I would never be seen dead spending that much on a gaming PC. But if it's giving you enjoyment, bro, I'm all for it. Do you know what I mean? So 3DXE, thanks for getting back to me. So it says Valorant and story games. If it's comp games, I go for more FPS. If it's story, I go for more middle ground textures. Okay, well, the setup you got, 3600K, 3080, it's pretty nice. It's a pretty nice setup. I mean, I think a lot of people in this chat would probably be quite jealous of that setup. But if it's not doing what you want it to do, you have to think which of those things that you want to prioritize. So if you want better quality visuals, then you would upgrade the graphics card. If you want more FPS, then you could upgrade your CPU to the 4900K. I expect though, if you did a bit of research into how to overclock that 13600K, assuming you're on a Z series board, if you look into some overclocking and tuning, you might actually get a good 10% performance bump on your CPU just from doing that. So it's worth looking into. It is worth looking into. With 64 gigabytes of RAM, it'll be hard for you to do any RAM overclocking because that memory density is too high. 32 or 48 gigabytes, you can get some good tuning out of some RAM, but 64 is going to be really tough. So I'd focus on that overclocking if you can. Yeah, it's at 790. So you could certainly do some overclocking on that 3600K. Just look at some guides online. The Intels are usually a bit easier to overclock than the AMDs, and there's a lot more headroom on them. So have a look into it. You might find that you are upgrading yourself for essentially free. So it's worth looking into. That says what's do? UPS went into overload when I first ran. Oh my God, dude! Yeah, I see. I have no need for a 90 class card. I own a PC company. I could get a 5090 and get the company to pay for it. But I just don't need it. Like, I've got a 4080 Super in my PC, plays everything I want to play it, lets me edit my YouTube videos. What more do I need? So, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, 5090 is a beast, so it uses a lot of energy. Oh my God. Z790 Maximus Extreme i9. So do you mean like a 14900K? Dual loop with 7TB 990 Pro, Leon, leave it. Wow. I mean, crazy spec. That is insane. Absolutely insane. Do you mean i9 or Ultra 9? Like, you on the new stuff or the 4900K? Because the 4900K is actually still a pretty sweet CPU. My favorite Intel CPU, 10900K. Absolute beautiful CPU. I love it. I've not had one in my personal system, but I've had a few customer builds with the 10900K a few years ago. Oh my god, that thing is unmatched. Not in terms of FPS. Like, you look at FPS graph, yeah, it's going to lose to a 7800 X3D or whatever. But have you ever actually used a 10900K? Dude, those things are so snappy. Like, they open up your apps like bam. Like, you click it, it's instantly open. There's something about that 9th and 10th gen Intel. It's got some real special sauce on it that just loads up apps like bam, open. I've never had a CPU like it. It's obviously not going to give you the FPS that more modern stuff is, but that was one of my favorite ever. So yeah. Oh, so you got Ultra 9 285K or whatever. That's cool. So, you know, if you're going to be overclocking, then those things are okay, I guess. Intel, you do benefit from a better motherboard. Whether a Maximus will actually give you anything over like a Tomahawk, I don't know. Probably not. But it's up to you. Can't change you now. Spent all the money, baby. Yeah, so Ricey, yeah. So that doesn't surprise me. Tech Yes City is a guy, he knows his stuff. He's like me, but with even more experience. So he's obviously better at tech than me. But yeah, something about that 900K, man, was so nice. I wish I still had one because I'd probably run my own PC on it. I honestly would. 13600K was first, yeah, absolutely. So the Intel K CPUs are very good for productivity because the quick sync is amazing. Yeah. Have you looked into debloating Windows? Well, the thing is 3DX, 3XDXD or whatever. I can't say your name. I've just finished prepping a video doing exactly that to see if the performance difference in games is any different. And seeing as we've got 17 people on the stream, I can tell you that the gaming performance was not any different at all. I obviously install all my Windows with a local account. Still do. I don't want to sign in with a Microsoft account, just a pure local account. So I did a relatively clean build, and then I went in and debloated, did a full reinstall, debloated, used the Chris Titus tool to turn off all the telemetry and turn off the animations in the windows and things like that. The Windows experience itself, using the PC, was so much better. But the gaming performance was not any different. So debloating your computer is probably not going to give you any more game performance. The thing for me that really made the difference in how snappy Windows feels, and anyone in the chat can do this, and I recommend you do this right now, is you go into the settings on your PC. In the search bar at the top, assuming you're on Windows 11, you type in animation. It will say animation effects. Go in, turn off the animation effects, and feel how much faster your apps open. You don't have to wait for like the window to go, ho, ho, ho. It just goes, it's up. That's my one tip to make your PC feel really, really nice. How come you didn't go for 9950X 3D? There's not a huge AMD fan. Yeah. It's up to you. The thing is, I bet you could just swap CPUs from AMD and Intel, and I think in a blind test, people just wouldn't be able to notice. So don't brand slag anyone. Basically, don't be a fan of AMD or Intel. That's lame and childish. Don't be a fan of a corporation. Like, I have a company. You can see the little advert thing in the corner for my company. I'm telling you not to follow or align with any companies because they're there to make money. They're not there to be your friend. So why would you be their friend? Do you know what I mean? I am very friendly in my business. Lots of people like that. But when you know, especially at this big level, AMD and that, they don't care about you. They don't care about you at all. So why would you care about them? Just get what the best thing is for you. Better latency, a better program load time. Yeah, I agree. So I would recommend debloating Windows and using the Chris Titus tool. Yeah, definitely. I would do it. It makes, like I said, it makes the Windows experience like way better. It doesn't improve your games, but it will make the experience better. I just got to take the ND filter off this camera because it's getting a bit dark outside now. So hopefully it will improve the ISO. There we go. The chat is popping tonight. I love this. I love this. Just hanging out with the guys. So I've probably got another sort of half an hour in me. Why don't we actually do what I wrote on the title of the stream? Have a look over some of these PC cases. Should we do that? So chat, what I want you to tell me when I move my bowl out of the way. Which of these, so I've got, what we could look at all of them, but tell me which you want to look at first. So on the right hand side, that's a full PC. This one, my finger is here. This is a Radeon 7600 with a Ryzen 5500. If you want to have a quick look around that, we can. That's a full build. These three are empty cases. This is the Fantex Evolve X2. We'll have a look. This looks beautiful. We can check this out. This is the Antec Performance 1M. This has been out for about a year, but I've been really interested in like the clean, small form factor sort of look. This one really stood out to me, so we'll have a look at this, ITX. And we've got the CH260 here, deep cool. This is like the bigger version of the CH160. Micro ATX. It's in the same vein as the Lian Li A3. 3D man, I saw this Antec, I was like, dude, that is right up my alley. I've got to get this case. Yeah, this Fantex Gunny, it's cool. It looks really cool. So Ish wants us to look at one of the small ones. I can see that 3XD quite likes the look of the Antec one. Should we have a look at the Antec first? Third one, which is the third from which direction? This one, you mean? So we'll look at the Antec first, and then maybe we'll look at this one next. Let me know in the chat what you want to do. I'm just going to put some of my stuff next door, get some of the other cases off the table so we can have a proper look. And we've got our other camera. Where is it? Yeah, so we've got one camera for me and then one camera at the back here for the actual cases. So yeah. It's a little noisy, is it? Usually the noise is dependent on what you put in it. So we'll see. All right, cool. So we'll do 1, 2, 3, and then we'll have a look at the build to wrap things up. Yeah, so Ricey, I didn't realize how tall this case was. So when the box came, I was like, Jesus Christ, because I don't know if I'm going to be able to ship it with DPD if somebody buys it. I'm going to have to use UPS. And I don't like UPS. I don't even like DPD that much. They're just the only ones that don't seem to lose every parcel. So yeah, it's going to be interesting. I want to try, when I build this one, I want to try and maybe sell it locally rather than ship it. But we'll see. Right. Let's do this. So we'll get the other ones off and then we'll have a look at the Antec. Yeah, maybe Spaz. Who knows? I mean, some cases are a bit noisier. But usually you just need to tweak those fan curves or, yeah, something like that. Sometimes there's a bit of turbulence. Who knows? Right. Okay. This... yeah, right, whoever said, I can't remember who it was, somebody said this is unwieldy. That's a very, very good word for it. Look at the size of it. It's absolutely huge. It looks really cool. This is way bigger than I would have in my own personal PC though. Right, okay, let's... Oh, God, Jesus Christ. Oh. Unwieldy is the word. And then we'll take this budget build off the table a minute. So this will be a first look at the Antec. I'm going to do a proper video on it because it looks awesome. But this will be the first time I've ever looked inside it. So let's do it together. Okay, and then what I shall do, Set the exposure comp to 1.3 so you can see it better. There you go. I think that Funtex case would be good with a vertical mounted card as well. So let's do a little look over. So this is the front. Very sort of industrial look. On the, it looks like there's like a little strip here on the video. It's also going mental because it can't, the focus can't deal with it. But this isn't actually there when you look at it in real life. So I don't know what the camera's picking up, but it does all look uniform in real life. Really cool power button here. And just a single USB-C, super clean. Love that, love that. And then we'll turn to the side. Hopefully the autofocus will be a bit better this time. Nice triangular pattern, pretty cool. And then on the back, it's got lots of gaps. Often these sandwich style cases, they will have a lot of gaps like this, but I think it looks really cool. And then this is just the other side. So I can't see any screw points, so I'm guessing you just take the top off first and then pop the panels off. We'll see. I know, Ricey. I'm into it though. I like what they're doing with it. So you just pull. Looks like you just pull the top off. I haven't looked at the instructions or anything. The materials feel amazing, like really high quality. And this is Antec. Antec are like Antec. When I think of Antec, I think of like dad wearing socks and sandals at the beach. Do you know what I mean? Like it's kind of a lame brand. This case is beautiful. Oh my gosh. So all the panels are just toolless. My God, this looks incredible. I might actually steal this case for myself. Okay, and all the panels just pop off. That's really nice. Nice sleek design. It's got a red interior. I mean, that's cool, I guess. I mean, you're not going to see the interior with the panels on, are you? But looking nice. And the other good thing about having a simple front I/O is that you're not going to have a shed load of cables to manage, are you? You're not going to have to put an HD audio cable in or any other rubbish like that you're never going to use. Dude, I'm digging this. So it's got a riser cable, it's Gen 4, I think. And we've got the accessories box. I don't want to take it apart too much because I'll be using it for a full video, but just to give you a little look over it. User manual. So this is the GPU chamber. And it's actually, you know, it's quite long for an ITX case, really. It's definitely bigger than the Fractal Terra. The Terra probably stops at about here. So you probably get slightly longer GPU in it. Front to back, it's probably a little bit thicker than the Terra as well, so you might get a little bit more into it. Although I expect 67mm cooler is going to be all you can get. This is the motherboard tray. This might not come across in the video, but the quality is utterly insane. Like the quality of this feels like this is like super industrial quality. Yeah, I think 67mm cooler, like in terms of like, you know, cooler height, like a AXP 120X67. You might get something a little bit taller. There is a little SSD tray at the front for 2.5 drives, if anyone still uses those. I don't. And that's for your power supply there, so that's cool. And because it's a bit bigger front, you know, than a Fractal Terra, you could, looks like you get a few fans along here as well. I'm also curious, could you put a liquid cooler with thin fans on there? As long as you had one that had a decoupled pump. I think, do you know what, Gunny? I think it is powder coated. It's not coming across in the camera, maybe, I don't know. But here looking at it and feeling that this is super solid. This feels like it's like the hull of a ship or something. Very thick, but not that heavy. So it's obviously got really high quality materials in it. I have to do a bit more research on, like, you know, what the principle of this was, but it looks so good. Again, that thing there, it's not, there's not actually anything visible there. I don't know, the camera's just picking something weird up there, but it is all uniform in real life. So like the Terra, it has a movable spine. Let's move in, have a little look at what we can do here to change that positioning. So at the front there's a thumb screw there. So it looks like what you do is you loosen it and you can move it from side to side. And hopefully the camera won't lose connection if we have a look over it. But you can see it's actually got some quite precise measurements there. So you can really dial in the exact point that you want it to be at. The Terra had something similar, in fairness, and then you've also got the corresponding one on the other side here as well. So you can move the spine either way. So you can do it to sort of accommodate larger graphics cards, smaller CPU cooler, or the opposite. Usually with these kind of builds, I would stop at like an 80 class card, really. More than that, you're going to struggle with fitting it in just because of the thickness of the GPU normally. So I think it looks awesome. This is going to be a really fun build. I cannot wait to do this one. And like I said, I might actually steal the case for myself because it does look awesome. It's expensive though, £180, about the same as the Fractal Terra. So it better live up to the Fractal Terra in terms of quality and design. But from a first glance, the materials, the metal in this is leagues above the Fractal Terra. And I thought the Fractal Terra had good build quality. This is insane. And it's kind of weird. One of the ways I could tell when metal's really good quality is how cold it is when you touch it and it's freezing. I think this just looks gorgeous. Let's have we'll have another pan around it. And then we can get the Fantex out in a minute. Completely different style of case, of course. But yeah, I like it. This is going to be really clean. Do they? I didn't know Lenovo did that. I don't keep up with what Lenovo do, to be honest. But obviously this is the interior, so you're not going to see the red. I think it's just there to be a bit fancy, I guess. It could all just be black and realistically, because you're never going to see it. But yeah. Yeah, it maybe isn't worth that much, but I think it's expensive because of the quality of materials. If they made the materials cheaper, they could probably do it. I think Antec did this series called Performance Series, where they used really high quality metal in all of the series, and this is just the smaller version. I think. So that's cool. Anything else anyone wants to sort of have a look at this case before we move on to the Fantex big boy? No, I agree. Cheaper isn't always better. Yeah, usually often you do get what you pay for. Often, not always, but often. All right. So let's get the next case out. Let's get the Fantex. Because I've got a wide-angle lens on this camera because it's going to fill up the whole screen. So we'll just put the panels back on this. Like I said, I'm not going to fully undo all the twist ties and everything because I want this to be a proper YouTube video and actually record it. So we'll pop the panels back on. But it's nice that they're all toolless as well. It's kind of a nice little feature. I don't particularly care if a case is toolless or not. Like, I don't really want to pay more money just for it to be toolless, but it's nice. Dude, these panels feel fantastic. I'm very impressed. Beautiful. Yeah, tell you what, this could be the one for you. It feels very, very solid. I like the feet as well. Very Apple, dark matte, right? Zeus, this is the Antec Performance 1M. So we'll be doing a build with that next week. Yeah, that's okay. No, don't have to say sorry. I assume that people join the stream at any time, so always ask away any questions you've got. Yeah, so we'll be doing a build with this soon. It probably won't be on the channel for a few weeks, but if you're interested, or if you're even just liking the stream, you should definitely subscribe. Turn the notification bell on so you can catch any streams, any new videos. Did anybody watch my recent video with the Lian Li A3, the $800 build guide for adults? That video got over 11,000 views, which for me is insane. Insane. Oh God, this case is so damn heavy. Okay. So I have to move the tripod back. Bear in mind, this is on the 18mm lens, so it's already fairly wide. There we go. Right. Oh, thanks, Ricey. So the music is, the tune and the actual singing is AI generated, but I write the lyrics myself. So so it says remove top panel first. So we'll do that in a second. But yeah, this is the Evolve X2. Looks cool, doesn't it? We'll get the glass off in a minute for a proper look. Massive, absolutely huge case. It's huge. Well, I think so, Ricey. Like, a couple of people didn't appreciate it, but they said it was, oh, I don't want AI slop. But, you know, I didn't see the music as slop because I came up with the idea. Like, I wrote the prompts, I wrote all the lyrics myself without AI helping. So for me, that's fine. And it's not like I'm producing AI videos. I mean, I'm in them. The top comes off. That feels nice quality. It's got these little plastic ridges on it, a bit like the height cases that we've had before. I mean, am I a huge fan of this? Looks cool, but you might get better cooling with just a mesh. But I appreciate that this pattern is kind of the premium type thing. Nice looking power button, quite like that. Quite sleek. You've got quite a lot of space. I'll have a look at the top in a minute. You've got quite a deep chamber here for your AIO. So that's nice. And then looks like we've got little bits of tape, I think, or plastic or something. Yeah, that's just to prevent the glass from knocking into each other. And then you just, so you got a screw to take out in the top. I guess you'd call that a transit screw. Probably a good idea. I just need to get a screwdriver because I haven't got one on me. Of course, you know, if you're enjoying the stream, guys, please do like, subscribe, so that I keep doing them. If you hate the stream, then that's fine. I won't do them again. Up to you. But it would be appreciated. Every like, comment, etc. is always very appreciated. And let me know if you've viewed my recent video with the Lian Li A3, because I'm very happy with how that went. Oh, dude, where's my screwdriver? I'm going to have to go get a screwdriver from upstairs. I had one here like just a minute ago. Right, I will be back to properly nude this case in a minute. Right, I got it. I found one. Right. So I'll take out the transit screw. Looks like there aren't any others, so yeah, just pops off. Oh, wow. That's a big piece of glass. Yeah, you can see it a lot better now that I've taken the glass off on the camera. Look. Dude, it's very, very premium. But it looks great. It looks really good. This is going to be a fun build. It looks like if you really need to, you can take out all of this brushed aluminium stuff using some screws here. I'm not going to do that, but you have the option to. Looks like you can also take this glass off. Maybe. Or I don't know if you can actually. Maybe you have to take out the other side first. We'll see. Yeah, you definitely want this on a desk. I mean, my own PC, I have it strapped underneath the desk, so you can't even see it anyway. Because I just don't care. But people that want to show their PC off, yeah, absolutely. So interesting, it's glass on the back as well. This is way too big for, I think, anybody's desk. Massive. Okay. So that came off nice. No, I can't get it all in frame, but there's a huge bit of glass. Pop that down there. Okay. Wonder if the front will come off now. No. I think the front is probably not designed to come off, maybe? Or maybe, oh, do you have to slide it to the side, maybe? It looks like that might be the case. I think maybe you pull it. I really don't want to break this because it's a very expensive case. I'm very unsure about how you get the front off. I don't know if you probably don't need to actually build in it. It's just for the yeah, just for that. I quite like having the I/O down there because it keeps it out of the way. I think having it up high, if you plug anything into it, all that dangles down looks awful. Okay, well, it's looking nice. We'll do a full tour and build on the channel, obviously. So if you're interested, you should subscribe for that. But let's have a look at the cable management because that's where things might be a little bit tough in this case, to be honest. So we'll see. Particularly as cases like this, you often have a lot of cables, don't you? For like all your ARGB and whatever. God, this is not very intuitive how to get this door off, is it? Oh, there we go. Okay, so it's like a door style. Okay, so there is, I think there will probably be adequate room in there, I would say. 3 SSD bays. Yeah, there's also a hard drive cage in the back down there. Not that I'll ever use it, but yeah, it's there. Decent options for cable routing. I think this will be fine. It looks like there's enough room to fit everything. It's not super narrow. I think it'll be fine. The thing is, I don't think I've ever had a problem with dirt getting them on USB ports. Apart from that one time I spilt a protein shake on my laptop, but I mean, I don't think any design would have prevented that. Okay, so that's that. Does that like hook round like that? I'll work out what this does. There we go. I think it's cool. I think this case is really cool. It's overpriced. It's massive, way too big for me, but it does look nice. It does look really cool. So can't deny that to the Fantex boys. And it must have been pretty expensive to mill the glass to have that on it. Because that is not like, that's a very custom shape of glass. Probably what impacted the price a lot. Oh, you gotta be so careful to put this back on properly though. The design on this, putting this panel on and off, is not, it's not filling me with confidence, I must say. It's only got these tiny little bits of metal at the bottom. Dude, this isn't the most intuitive, not gonna lie. I mean, I got it off fine. I reckon I've got the wrong bit. No, I haven't. No, this is definitely the bit that I took off the back. Already on the struggle bus, trying to get the freaking case panel back on now. So that side is okay. We just need to feed that side in, that side in. Oh, there we go. We got it. We got it. Of course, anyone new to the chat, please ask away any PC questions you've got. You know, I've got over 10,000 hours experience in PC building. I've been doing it for years and years. And I'll tell you what the tech YouTubers don't. Because I'm not sponsored by Asus, Gigabyte or anyone else. I sponsor myself with my own company. So I don't have anything to sell you in terms of brand loyalty, because I don't have brand loyalty through my business. I buy the parts that make the most sense, give you the performance without the crap that you don't need. So if you're wondering, should I get this? Should I get that? Should I upgrade this? Then that is a perfect question to ask. Because I've probably built more PCs than most of your favorite tech YouTubers. I think I'm on about 890 at the moment. We've got Mike in the chat. Hey, how's it going, my friend? Where are you tuning in from today? Actually, where is everybody tuning in from today? I'm always so interested to see like what kind of nationalities you've got in the chat, because we always get like quite a nice mix. It's always cool to hear different people's backgrounds. Right, so we're going to put this case away. We'll have a quick look at the Deepcool CH260, although it's not as exciting as the two that we've already looked at, not going to lie. So we'll pop this away. Oh, God, it is heavy. Jesus. When that is filled up with computer parts, that is going to be monstrously heavy. Jesus. Okay. Mike is tuning in from the Netherlands. Good to see you, dude. I went to Amsterdam a couple of years ago. Loved it. Really cool. I don't know if I'd like to live there though. I think maybe it's just like the Western guy in me that I just like to be able to drive around. And I feel like if I lived in the middle of Amsterdam, I'd go a bit mental. But a beautiful city to visit. Really awesome. I'd highly recommend anyone in the chat get down to Amsterdam. I mean, I'm assuming you're from Amsterdam, but you're probably not. You're probably from somewhere else, like Rotterdam or something, aren't you? But that's the only place I've been in the Netherlands, and it was awesome. So I definitely recommend people to go there. Thanks, Gunny. Yeah. Love it, dude. From Smith, what is that? Oh, Smithfield Mountain. I was wondering what the MO meant. Yeah. That's cool. Where's that? Which state is that in? The US is absolutely massive, isn't it? Amsterdam is not, well, I don't know if you meant to write Holy Land, because it probably is the whole land, isn't it? It's quite famous for its various whole services. Oh, I see. So it's not Smithville Mountain, it's Smithville, Missouri. Oh, I see. Cool. I don't really know much about Missouri, to be honest. Like I said, the US is so massive. It's absolutely huge. It's like it's like as big as Europe. So you know how many different countries there are in Europe. There's so many different ways of living in the US, isn't there? Yeah, like I said, I'm only saying Amsterdam because that's where I've been. But I'm sure there's loads of beautiful places in the Netherlands, and the people are so friendly. Internet Explorer 8.1 is in the chat. Hello, my friend. I'm always so, Internet Explorer is still in the back end of Windows 11. It's so funny. Weed and women. Yeah, that's part of Amsterdam. Yeah, definitely. But it's just nice to walk. There's something to be said about like going on a city break or something and it just being a nice place to like mill about. Do you know what I mean? Just to walk around. It's just nice. Like UK, we don't really have anywhere like that. Not in the big cities anyway. And we've got lovely countryside here, but there's no cities where it's just like, oh, this is a bit nice to walk around. Whereas you go to places like Lisbon, Amsterdam, Reykjavik, or whatever, it's just nice to walk around in these places. One of the benefits of being in Europe, obviously, is you just fly to these places really quickly. So it was really nice. Yeah, Gunny, did she like it? I think it's cool. It's a really cool country. It's quite expensive to live in, I think. It's a bit like I've been to Norway, Denmark, also really nice countries, but quite expensive to live in. So yeah, beautiful places. Right, CH260, because I need to wrap this up because I've been live for like way longer than I thought I was going to be. Okay. And guys, let me know. I know we've had a couple of people like say the quality's good, but if there's any problems with the quality on the stream that I could improve, please let me know. Obviously, I'm doing these streams as like a test thing. I've been doing them for a few weeks, trying to improve little bits each time. So if there's anything I can change or make better, please let me know. Right. So I can't remember exactly. Obviously got screws on the back, isn't it? I'm trying to remember from when I did the CH160 how I got the panels off. I think maybe the front comes off first. Yeah. So this is slightly different from the CH160 because it's got front fans. Whereas on the CH260 you got fans, CH160 you don't. So it's actually a bit, it's basically an ATX case with like a third or a half of it chopped off the top to make it smaller. Are you off, are you, Gunny? Catch you later, dude. Nice to have you on the stream. Enjoy your crazy, crazy computer. Right, so now I could probably take this off. Oh, so this one has got the screws on the side to take off. Oh, I'm not closing the live stream yet. No, so we're going to look over this, and we'll look over the budget build that I just did, and then we'll go. Yeah, so Ricey, I've done the same. I found the CH160 wasn't arranged very well. I wasn't a huge fan of it. The problem, the good thing was that it was so cheap, and this is cheap as well. I think because they can't sell them in the US anymore, for some reason they've dropped their prices. And this I got for £45. I like deep cool stuff generally. Yeah, I probably got another like sort of 20 minutes on the live stream, I think, Gunny, anyway. So we can wrap up. All right. So that glass will come off. Slightly easier than the 160. CH160 had to take out a few more screws. Yeah, so this is why I like deep cool, because it is good price for good stuff. I don't know anything about the politics of what went on or anything like that, but I just know the product in front of me is decent. So it's a CH160, but a bit bigger, isn't it? I mean, that is it. Your power supply is going to go in there. Looks like you could probably put a fan there as well if you wanted. 2 fan slots here. I assume you couldn't fit a radiator in the front, a 240. I think there's not enough clearance. But you could put even up to a 360mm in the top here. Like you've got like loads of space there to put one in. So that would be good. It's something to think about. The only thing I'll say. Oh, the only thing I'll say about this is that when you put the front back on, obviously the fans are on the left, so it's going to look a little bit asymmetrical. The fans are going to be on the left, so maybe with this build I shouldn't use RGB fans on the front. Maybe I should just use black fans on the front, and if I want to use RGB, put it in the rest of the case. I don't know. I'll have to think about it. This one's on the back burner a little bit, if I'm quite honest. I probably won't get around to actually building this one for a week or two. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know about this one if you need an SFX. I did do an ATX power supply in the CH160, and I agree it was a little bit tight. I think in this one you'll get away with it. You definitely want to go modular or semi-modular, don't you? Because yeah, it can be tough otherwise. You got decent room. You got 4 slots of GPU clearance. That's going to be enough for anything you chuck in it. I can't see any fan mounting points on the bottom of the case, which is a little bit weird. Like, there's so much space down there. Could you not have... I reckon you could probably... I'm going to see. I'll try some slim fans under there and see if they'll fit, but it doesn't look like... All the holes on the bottom are square, so I don't actually know if there's anywhere you can put a bottom fan on, so I don't know. What they've done well in this one, compared to the CH160 and indeed the Lian Li A3, is that they've got these tie-down points for the front panel. Very helpful, because otherwise it just dangles around all over the place. Is a gold 500-watt PSU good? The thing is, Internet Explorer, I don't usually make blanket statements. There might be a good gold 500-watt, and it might be good for some kind of server that you need running all the time. Most companies don't make 500-watt golds, I think, because they're just not profitable enough. So I don't know. It will just completely depend on the brand, because the bronze and gold thing is just the efficiency, like in terms of like, you know, what it pulls from the wall versus what power it gives to the computer. Doesn't actually indicate quality. Cybernetics ratings are a bit better for the actual quality, but they're still not perfect. EVGA make good power supplies. I don't know if they make them anymore though. So you're looking at a used one. Yeah. So I think this case looks good. Is there any cable management room in the back? It wasn't on the CH160, I don't think. So we'll find out. Yeah, it could be a used EVGA power supply, in which case most EVGA power supplies are good, even the cheap ones. I haven't seen one for a while, and I used to use them semi-frequently. So yeah, the main power supplies I use now are Deep Cool and Corsair, really. I use a lot of others as well from time to time, but those are the two that I always end up coming back to. Okay, so we've got a little bit of room in the back here for some cable management. So we could put like CPU power cable up through there. We could put motherboard power cable through there, save a bit of... Oh, sorry about that. Jeez, I don't know what happened there. My OBS just crashed. Wondering if people are still here. Who knows? Opera does not like me opening the Eevee. No, it's something to do with my OBS just crashed. I don't know why. If people are still here, that's awesome, but it did crash for a moment. Okay, well, listen, I'm gonna try. If it crashes again, I will just end it, but we'll see. Okay. So we've had a look at the CH260. It's looking decent. Let's pop the panels back on. We'll have a quick look at our budget build, and if that's all good, then that's all good, and we'll be done. So that panel goes back on like that. There we go. Yeah, I'm sorry if the stream went down a minute there. I stream off a laptop and it's been pretty rock solid, but it didn't like me having Chrome open at the same time, so I just close it. I think it ran out of like RAM or something. If anyone in the chat knows a lot about OBS, does OBS have like a memory leak or something? Because I've never had that happen before. I've streamed for like 6 hours. Maybe it's Chrome. I don't know. Maybe I should just stop using Chrome. I've been wanting to switch to Brave browser for a while, so maybe this is the perfect time to do it. Who knows? Okay. Oh, other way, boy. Wait. That way, is it? Wait. Okay. If you say so. That hates my audio driver, does it? Yeah, the window capture is also a bit balked on OBS. I don't know why. Like, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. What a mystery. Okay. So what we need to do is put the panel back on. Sorry for the interruption, everybody. Technical difficulties. You can blame Chrome or OBS, your choice. Okay, there we go. So we'll have a look at our budget build very quickly, and then I'm going to head off in about 4 minutes' time. So get your questions in, guys, if you have any. All right, so we'll wrap up the stream by just looking, it's a little sneak peek into an upcoming video live, probably in a couple of weeks, I would think. I've finished the filming today. I need to do the voiceover and the editing and everything. So this is a very not spectacular PC, as you can see. My goal for this one was £450 to build a PC that's going to do 1080p gaming at good settings. That was my goal for this build. Having a look at it, can anyone guess what parts might be inside? Gunny's having problems getting water cooling fittings in the US. I mean, water cooling fittings are already an absolute faff anyway, aren't they? I mean, I've done a couple of custom loop cooling systems. I found them not actually to be very useful compared to an AIO, but they do look awesome. But the fittings was probably one of the hardest bits. You just have to buy lots of ones to find the ones that work, and then sometimes the color doesn't look like the picture, so you have to set it back and get some different ones. It's like, oh, it's crazy. Oh, cool, Chrome. I love Chrome fittings. Chrome fittings look beautiful. Eaton Saves says, what was the first PC you built? So, God, depends how technical we're talking about. first PC build. I mean, I can't even remember what the graphics card was called. Me and my dad did it. I was really young at the time. Oh, what was it? I'm going to open Chrome again. Hopefully it doesn't crash the stream. It was called like Alpha Dog something. So they all had cool names back then with like really cool box art. 8800 GT. Yeah, that was it. 8800 GT Triple X Alpha Dog Edition. This is exactly it. Right, let me get the page up for you. Okay. So I'll need to change that to Chrome. There we go. So this is the first graphics card I ever had. XFX 8800 GT. To be fair, at the time it was all about Crysis, and this thing ran Crysis. I don't know. It didn't play it amazingly, but it was decent. Look at that. Look at that VRAM. 512 megabytes. GDR3. Wow. Wow. So this was the first. This was when XFX used to make NVIDIA graphics cards. I think back in the day they probably, I can't remember. I think they used SLI, but I never had enough money for SLI, so I don't know. My first really good after this, I kind of went to console for a decent while, and then what was it? I think the first good graphics card I got was the 5700 XT. The first actually good one. That's the first good one I can remember anyway. But this Alpha Dog thing, man, you know, like when you remember old games and stuff, you remember the graphics being like amazing, don't you? Like, oh, it's so realistic. And then you can go back and look at it now and you go, Jesus, those are junk. It's the same with this. I remember thinking, God, that graphics card looks so cool. I look at it now and it looks kind of piddly and lame. But I do miss when they had the cool box art. I wish, do they have, can I find some box art for it? It was cool, I think. It might have been something like that. It's something. It will look something like that one. Fun times. Yeah, I mean, you could. SLI was okay. It was never. It was decent. But it was never that good. Yeah. First build was Asus Z68 1200 watt DDR4 1080. That's cool. 1080 and 1080 Ti, awesome GPUs. Right. Okay. So our build has Radeon RX 7600 8GB, slight bit of sag, but not too bad. And we've got Ryzen 5500 with stock cooler, 16 gigs DDR4, and then it's a really cheap B450. I mean, it's so cheap, it's only got 4 pins for the CPU. I've got a little NVMe in there with a 1TB SATA SSD. In just this really cheap AeroCool case that I had lying around. I got this case for like £28, but I don't really like it. I was just waiting for an excuse to do a budget build. So this one, about £460. This cost me at the end of the day. All new parts, and I've still got to test it, but I'm certain this will do 1080p no problem. In fact, I think you'll even get 1440p out of it, even with the 8GB VRAM. Especially if you're careful with your texture settings. Let's flick it on so you can see the RGB, but I haven't actually set it up yet. This case, fortunately, does have the RGB on a case button as well, so I think this is pretty cool for a budget build. I think, put yourself in the shoes of like 14-year-old Timmy. Timmy just wants to play a bit of Fortnite. He wants to play 1080p, get 144 FPS on his monitor. This build is going to do that. £460. I mean, I'll obviously have to put a profit margin on it, but in terms of parts cost, £460 for a decently neat looking system with Ryzen 5 5500 and a Radeon 7600. I mean, I think it's decent. I think that's good. And this thing about not being able to get budget good stuff anymore, of course you can. You're not going to get the latest and greatest for a cheap price. It's just never going to happen, but you can still get something decent. Windows. First I had to was HP Stream, and I don't even know what that is. They're for having Windows 10 1607. Really? Yeah, lots of people are a bit like, they're like stalwarts about staying on Windows 10, aren't they? I mean, you can if you want. Up to you. Windows 10 is probably, I prefer it to Windows 11, but what are you going to do? But I don't think this looks awful. I mean, yeah, it's cheap. It's plastic. It's not a high end case. But two big fans in the front, little fan in the rear. Nice little AM4 system, 1080p easy. Bit of 1440p, especially with FSR on, you could have no problems. So I think that's pretty cool. So as I say, super cheap AM5 build, Ryzen 8400F with RTX 36. How the hell, Ricey, did you get that? I mean, obviously some of those are used parts, aren't they? If it's a 3060 Ti. The goal for this one was obviously new parts, so that I can warranty them for the customers. But if you're building it for yourself, the used stuff is going to be a lot better. That is a really good price though. 46. That I think people will be very happy with that. 3060 Ti with an 8400F. That's cool, man. Yeah, it's just cheap RAM. So if anyone's wondering, so you know back in the DDR4 days, not that long ago, I'm saying that like it's ages ago. So the DDR4, it's like DDR4 3200 CL16 was considered like the decent speed. Like it wasn't super fast, wasn't super slow. But if you were to equate that to DDR5 6000 CL30, CL32 is sort of the equivalent in this generation. But obviously now the DDR5 is really expensive. The 8400F was £70 on Ali. That's good, man. 70 is cheap for an 8400F, and it's still a half decent CPU. And 152 because it was overheating and the seller wants to get rid of it. Fair enough. What did you do? Did you just repaste it? That's usually all you have to do, isn't it? Repaste the graphics card or undervolt it. That's the other thing you can do. I agree. With Gunny, it's not too bad. It's not. I don't think there's a lot of sag there, but there is a little bit. There is a little bit. So if we were to put something under there, you could hold it up like that. But it's quite minimal. It's not too bad. I probably wouldn't include one free, but if the customer said, "Is there anything you'd add to this?" I'd say, "Yeah, just get one of those freestanding ones off Amazon for a tenner. Just stick it under here. Keep that corner up." Especially, this cheap motherboard doesn't have the reinforced PCIe slot either. So I think an anti-sag would certainly be a good investment. It's just when you're trying to sell a budget build, you really do have to like focus on min-maxing the build, basically. Like good graphics card, decent CPU. Don't worry too much about the motherboard because this is a 4-phase VRM. It's fairly weak, but Ryzen, it's going to be fine. So Jax6078 says RAM has gotten more expensive. Yeah, it's definitely got more expensive. Loads more expensive. Like I used to get my DDR5 6000 32 gig kits for £90. They're like 125 now. It's crazy. It's gone up so much. It's gone up by a third. It's because of AI hype. And if you've been in PC tech for a long time, you'll know this cycle happens all the time. The RAM goes really cheap, the SSDs go really cheap, and then they go really expensive, and then they go really cheap again. And it's just part of the cycle. It just happens from time to time. The AI won't be helping because obviously their data centers going to need loads of RAM and things like that. So yeah, it's definitely part of it, but there is often a cycle that just goes like this. Like they'll oversupply for a bit, so they have to decrease the price. Then they'll go, oh, loads of people are buying these cheap SSDs, so let's restrict the supply, so the price goes up. It just goes round in a loop over and over again every year or two. You're gonna flash your old laptop with Tiny 11. What's Tiny 11? Is that a custom distro for Windows 11? Is it? Hey, do you know what, Gunny? That's not a bad idea. I don't have any hard tubing left because I stopped doing them as custom builds because the maintenance requirements for the customer were just too high, and they really hated that. Like if they wanted me to do the maintenance for them, I'd charge them £50 to do a flush and reset, which I think is a perfectly fair price, but they thought it should be included for free. So basically, people annoyed me too much, so I just stopped doing the custom loops, and it's not worth it for most people. Yeah, exactly. Cycle costs. Oracle IPI made a deal. Yeah, well, I'd heard about that, Ricey. So that will definitely be part of it. That will definitely be part of it. Yeah, 100%. The AI is gobbling up, but do you know what? I think it's a bit of a bubble. It is big. AI is big. It's probably not quite as much money and how, as big as everyone thinks, because if you need a plumber to come around to fix your pipes, AI is not going to do that. Doesn't matter how good your robotics get. Do you really think that a robot is going to be able to fix your plumbing in your house, particularly in the UK, where maybe your house is like 250 years old? Come on, dude. No, it's not going to happen. Electrician to fix your light switches, you're not going to get a robot to do that. So, nurses, doctors, they're not getting replaced. Be augmented. Like doctors, I'm a doctor, so my work would be augmented by AI. It would help. But at the end of the day, half of medicine is about not just knowing the science, it's actually using that science and applying it to the person in front of you. AI is not going to be as good at doing that. People in a tough situation, they want a person. They don't want a machine. Even though the machine might technically have more knowledge, it won't know how to apply it to the individual person and their personality. So nursing definitely is going to be safe from AI. I don't think robots are going to be able to turn over old Doris in her bed to stop her getting a pressure sore, are they? So they're not going to be able to dispense the drugs in the same way, or if they have to change something or alter a drug in some way, put it in a different constituent or something. Not going to happen. Creative work is going to be affected a lot by AI, especially like low-level creative work. Copywriting and other clerical tasks, they're going to be gone to AI. But it's probably not quite as much as people think. Still revolutionary, but not quite as much as people think. But my point is, when this bubble does burst, there could be some really cheap hardware coming out onto the scene in terms of RAM, SSDs, maybe even processors. Who knows? Yeah, so the robotics will be good for the things that are very standard. Do you know what I mean? So building a house, actually, in a way, is kind of standard, isn't it? Like you could program it to build a house. But if you're trying to get somebody in to fix something in a house that was built by a human 200, 300, 400 years ago, it's just not going to work, is it? It's just not going to work. Refrigerator says, thoughts on 5080 for 1,200 euros? No, dude, that's way too much money. I'm sure you could get a Palette Gaming Pro or a Zotac or something for like 1,000. Yeah, I mean, it is making them a lot of money, but I don't think OpenAI makes a profit. So a lot of these big companies, they get their money from like investors, don't they? They're not getting it from, Joe Blogs on the street. So I don't know. It's like Amazon. I don't know how profitable Amazon is, but it's probably not as much as people think. But they're going for that market capitalization, aren't they? Trying to edge everyone else out the market and then maybe raise the prices later. Yeah, well, that's it. Rice is on the mark there. So it's the value is inflated because as soon as somebody invests a certain amount for a certain equity stake, that is now how much that company is worth. But it's not real value. It's what they think is the value. I don't know if I'm making sense, but it's not real, is it? It's not actually money. Is that what it is, Servant Max? 5 billion loss. Wow. Yeah. I mean, I guess eventually they would turn a profit. It's obviously very resource intensive, isn't it? Because, for instance, I pay for the ChatGPT Plus, and it's something like $12 a month. There's no way they make enough money off individual people buying ChatGPT subscriptions. Yeah, interesting. We'll see. I mean, you can predict and predict. You're only going to know when it comes around, aren't you? So we'll just have to see. I do use AI for like mundane tasks, like if I used it to help with my website with the SEO, the search engine optimization. It just tells you exactly like what you need to change and things like that. It's not very good for like, I asked it to write a YouTube script and it was rubbish. So I don't use it for that kind of thing. But, yeah. Well, see, Ricey is on the money. He knows his stuff, or she, I don't know who it is. But what a lot of people don't realise, when you get to this sort of billionaire state, they're never spending their own money. So they just have lots of assets and then they borrow money against the assets. But because the assets are so valuable, they get really low interest rates. So they just borrow against their company, and then they can write it off as a loss on their tax. It's a whole like weird corrupt system. If you've got a lot of assets, you can sort of get a lot of cash. It's weird, really weird when you look into it. Amazon is AI. Wait, you've got the UAVs, have you, with the deliveries? That's cool. That's cool. Yeah, it is. Well, money and power does corrupt, doesn't it? Yeah. Yeah. Tale as old as time, baby. Okay. So, are there any more questions about anything today? Otherwise, I'm going to head off. I haven't played Battlefield 6 all day, so I need to get to that. And I'm also working at the hospital tomorrow, so I need to get my stuff ready. So let me know any more cues in the chat. Otherwise, make sure you subscribe and like. We'll probably do one live stream every sort of 10 days or so. Really, it depends. If I'm already doing some work of some kind, then I will just stream it, because I will just be doing that work anyway. So it depends. You know, it could be more impromptu ones, but I'll try to do them every sort of 10 to 14 days. All right. Have a nice night, everybody. I'm heading off. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and check out some of the recent videos. I'm quite happy with how the recent videos on the channel have gone. So yeah, check it out. I can't believe I got 11,000 views on one of them. That was nuts. Absolutely nuts. I think it was because the thumbnail was nice. Cool. Can't play due to MBR issues. Oh, right. I don't know what that... I don't really know how you'd fix that apart from reinstalling Windows and changing it from MBR to GPT. But yeah, good luck. Good luck. All right, there's plenty of cool content coming on the channel, so definitely subscribe. We're going to have some builds. We're going to have some guides. I've got a really, really in-depth motherboard guide so that you can actually understand how a motherboard works, because most YouTubers have absolutely no idea how a motherboard works. You ask them about VRMs, they'll just say it's got a good VRM, but they don't actually know what that means. So we'll go in, we'll do that at some point. It's a big video, it'll take a while, but I'm working on it. All right, see you later, everybody. Have a nice evening. I'm out.